What if the trash in your backyard could become the most beautiful part of your garden? Welcome to Revive Nature, where we turn everyday waste into stunning garden art. In this video, you'll find practical, creative DIY ideas using items you already have, like plastic bottles, old drums, and forgotten roots. Timestamps are included. Feel free to jump to what inspires you most. Have questions? Drop them in the comments. If this speaks to you, recreate it your own way. Start with what you have. Make it yours. And if you feel a connection, maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content is a real story and a real family. This isn't just a video. It's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you hit that button, you're not just helping a creator grow. You're helping a dream stay alive. Thanks for being here. Thanks for seeing me. In a quiet corner of a small backyard, where the scent of chrysanthemums lingers in the crisp autumn air, something magical begins to bloom, not from the soil, but from forgotten waste. Here, the humble plastic bottle, once destined for landfill, has taken on a new life. With a touch of imagination and a splash of paint, it blossoms into vibrant petals lining the fence like a parade of everlasting flowers. These colorful creations, shaped lovingly by hand, dance in the sunlight like marigolds and mums, their transparent bodies catching golden rays and casting playful glows on the dew-kissed grass below. Each one is unique. Some bottles curl into tulip forms, others twist into anemone-like bursts. Painted in soft pastels, warm golds, and rich autumn reds, they blend seamlessly with their living companions, the cheerful asters, the dignified sedums, and the soft, wind-swayed Japanese anemones. The fence itself is a backdrop of rustic charm, bamboo poles or repurposed wood painted white or left weathered, offering support to this gallery of upcycled blooms. Ivy creeps along the frame, curling between the plastic petals as if recognizing them as one of its own. The scene is a harmonious mix of nature and craft, a garden border not just to contain, but to celebrate. There's a quiet joy in this kind of beauty. It tells a story of care, of thoughtful hands that saw potential in trash and turned it into treasure. It's not just decoration, it's a declaration. A reminder that even in the smallest spaces, with the humblest materials, wonder can flourish. Visitors pause and smile. Children reach out to touch the shiny petals. Neighbors ask how it's made. But the true answer lies not in tutorials, but in intention, to create something lovely from what others discard, to let the garden speak not just in blooms, but in transformation. And so the bottle blossoms sway gently in the breeze, silent witnesses to creativity, color, and a greener, more inspired world. In the hush of early evening, as golden light fades into twilight, the garden begins to whisper a softer story. Here, where twisted tree roots rise from the earth like ancient relics, something extraordinary happens. Not discarded, but reclaimed. Not lifeless, but reborn, as lanterns that light the heart of a tiny, rustic retreat. Each root is a sculpture shaped by time. Curved, knotted, and full of character, their rugged forms carry the quiet strength of nature. Once forgotten in a corner of the woods or dug up from old land, they now stand tall again, this time as guardians of light. Hollowed with care, smooth just enough to hold a gentle glow, the roots cradle small solar lanterns or delicate string lights. Some are left bare, embracing their weathered textures. Others are brushed with muted shades, soft bronze, aged white, moss green, enhancing their natural grain and presence in the garden. Around them, life continues to flourish. Japanese anemones dance in the breeze, asters nod along the fence, and chrysanthemums hold firm against the chill. Sedum clusters in golden pink clumps beneath the roots, softening the scene. Ivy climbs playfully, weaving its green through the aged wood as if to say, "Welcome back." The lanterns flicker as dusk settles in. Their light is not harsh, but warm and inviting, like a quiet breath at the end of a busy day. They cast gentle shadows on the patio stones, create cozy pockets of calm near garden benches, and mark paths between blooms with a poetic rhythm. Visitors often stop to ask, "Where did you buy those?" But there's no store. No mass production. Only the hands that found beauty in waste. Only the soul that saw a forgotten root and thought, "This belongs in the garden." And so they remain, lanterns not just of light, but of memory, of artistry, of deep connection to the earth. In a world of throwaway things, they remind us that roots still have stories to tell. In a backyard corner where laughter lingers and time slows, stands a pergola not quite like any other. Its wooden beams stretch upward, inviting morning light and trailing vines. But look closely, its base tells a story of reinvention. There, supporting each corner, are old metal drums, once industrial, now beautiful, reimagined as bold and blooming pillars of life. No longer dull or forgotten, these drums were coats of color, blush pinks, rustic greens, ocean blues, each brush stroke breathing new life into the steel. Their sides, once scarred by years of use, now reflect soft autumn sunlight as planters brimming with chrysanthemums, asters, and golden sedums overflow from their tops like floral fountains. At the base of each, ivy spills downward, creeping gently toward flagstone paths. Marigolds cluster around their feet, and in the gaps between, ornamental grasses sway, whispering tales of late-season breezes. This is a place of rest, of conversation, of quiet cups of tea beneath gentle shade. The drums don't hide what they once were. Instead, they embrace it. Their sturdy forms anchor the pergola with strength and soul, giving weight to the lightness above. Where others might see waste, here stands creativity grounded in function, a celebration of what can be when vision leads the hand. And in this tiny sanctuary, perhaps no bigger than a few paces wide, there is room for dreams. The pergola is not grand, but it shelters the things that matter: blooming color, repurposed life, and a sense of belonging. Children play in its shadow. Guests admire its form. Birds perch on beams overhead while butterflies dance between the petals below. The drums hum quietly with pride. Not for what they were, but for what they've become, vessels of beauty, structure, and surprise. In this garden, even the most unexpected things have a place. Even trash can hold up the sky. There's a hidden tide in the garden, soft, silent, and still. Not of water, but of memory. Along the curved path of a tiny front yard, a wave dances, built not of seafoam but of bamboo and recycled plastic bottles. It edges the flower bed like a shoreline, drawing eyes and hearts to its playful rhythm. This is the seascape garden border. A harmony of textures and tones inspired by coastal calm, where pale bamboo poles rise and fall like tides, and bottles, cut, curved, and painted in hues of sea glass, glisten like treasure washed ashore. Shades of turquoise, mint, and deep ocean blue reflect sunlight just as the real sea would, bending color into the day. Set among the waves are clusters of hardy autumn blooms. Japanese anemones sway like jellyfish in a breeze. Sedum autumn joy rises like coral. Marigolds flash gold like sunlit sand. Even in fall's chill, this garden feels like summer's memory, held tight in color and form. The edging is more than just boundary, it's invitation. It calls the viewer to step closer, to walk the curved path and follow the tide of design. Pebbles line the walkway, some painted like shells, others left bare in their natural elegance. driftwood here and there completes the story, collected, not purchased, gifted by nature and shaped by time. This border was born of waste, of tossed-away bottles and fallen bamboo. Yet here, in careful hands, they were reborn into beauty. A tribute to the sea for those far from shore. A dream for the garden that dares to feel like escape. Children tiptoe along it like a treasure trail. Neighbors pause, drawn by its glow. Guests ask, "Is this recycled?" And the gardener smiles, for the answer is yes, but more than that, it is imagined, transformed, cherished. In the quiet corner where this edge lies, the garden breathes with saltless waves, and the world feels wider, even in the smallest space. There's a corner in the garden where color rises like a chorus. Not from the ground, but from towers of transformation, metal drums once dull and forgotten, now dressed in joyful hues and filled with life. This is the Color Pop Drum Tower Garden, a celebration of vertical space and vibrant renewal. Each drum stands bold, painted with the energy of fall, deep cranberry, sunflower yellow, forest green, and cerulean blue. The colors do not shout, but sing, harmonizing with the blooms they cradle. Stacked thoughtfully, sometimes in twos, sometimes threes, they form columns of creativity that guide the eyes upward, making even the smallest patio feel boundless. Within these towers, life thrives. Chrysanthemums burst from the top with fiery gold and burgundy petals. Asters spill over the edges like laughter. Japanese anemones sway in the breeze, their delicate petals catching the light. Between them, cascading ivy and silver-leafed herbs soften the metal lines, giving the garden its soul. This isn't just a planter, it's sculpture. Art that breathes and grows. Each drum tells a story of revival, once a vessel for oil or grain, now a cradle for flowers and pollinators. Their imperfections, dents, scratches, weld marks, only add character beneath their fresh coats of paint. Placed in a patio nook or beside a garden bench, the drum towers create moments of pause. Children point at bees gathering on asters. Gardeners reach up to water blooms that touch the sun. And guests, expecting a plain pot, are surprised by the creativity that rises from something so unlikely. The verticality is more than design, it's function. In tight spaces where soil is limited and walls are near, these towers bring height, drama, and abundance. They redefine what a garden can be. proving that beauty grows wherever we give it the chance, even from rusted metal and a splash of imagination. As evening falls, the towers glow in the golden light, petals and paint catching fire together. And in that soft hush, it's clear, this is not just gardening, it's reclaiming, reimagining, rejoicing. In a patio no larger than a dining table, tucked beneath the quiet shade of ivy-draped beams, a seat waits, not shaped by machines or bought from a catalog, but carved by nature herself. It is a bench of roots, weathered, wild, beautiful. A living sculpture once hidden beneath the earth, now risen to cradle moments of stillness. The root bench curves gently, as if mimicking the human form. Its arms twist like vines. Its back rises in organic patterns, no symmetry, no perfection, yet entirely right. The wood has been cleaned, softened, and sealed with love, preserving its gnarled soul. Moss grows gently at its base, and here and there, ivy wraps around its feet as if claiming kinship. Surrounding the bench is a tapestry of blooms, golden marigolds that catch the sunlight, chrysanthemums nodding in clusters, asters holding onto the season's last warmth. Japanese anemones flutter at the corners, delicate and defiant. These flowers bloom like companions, quiet, loyal, endlessly present. The bench is more than a seat, it is presence. It invites the gardener to rest, the child to climb, the guest to admire. People touch its knots and lines, feel the history in its grain. Some sit with tea and read. Others simply close their eyes and listen to the soft rustle of leaves above. The magic lies in the contrast, something once underground now basking in light. Once discarded as debris, now the centerpiece of calm. The root bench reminds us that beauty doesn't need polish or precision, it only needs to be seen with different eyes. In a world of straight lines and modern shapes, the curve of this bench is a quiet rebellion. A return to wild elegance. A celebration of imperfection. As night falls, perhaps a lantern glows nearby. The garden hushes. The air cools. And the bench, cradled by blooms and memory, waits again for someone to sit, to dream, and to remember that even roots can rise. In the lull between rainfall and sunshine, the garden glimmers with surprise. Droplets fall not from gutters, but from petals, plastic petals, strung together like beads of color. This is not ordinary runoff. This is a rain chain made from waste, turned into wonder. Each link is a bloom, a chrysanthemum of emerald green, a daisy of soft lilac, a marigold in sunburst yellow. Once cast aside as plastic bottles, these fragments now catch rain like flowers catching dew. As water trickles down from roof to root, it dances across their surfaces, glinting under autumn light before collecting in a stone bowl at the base. The chain sways with the wind, chiming softly as the water slips past. Bees circle nearby blooms, real and crafted, unsure which is which. Japanese anemones nod politely beside the gutter post, while sedum cushions the earth below. Ivy climbs around the pergola beam, seeming to admire the vertical garden art. It's not just function, it's joy. In a space as small as a patio corner, this rain chain becomes a centerpiece. Children rush out during drizzle to watch it sparkle. Guests smile as they trace the shapes, realizing only upon close look that these petals once held cola and water, now transformed. This isn't about hiding trash, it's about honoring it. About saying, you can still be beautiful. Every cut edge, every paint stroke speaks of patience, vision, care. The kind of care that sees art in a bottle and poetry in the rain. In the evening, when the garden hushes and the day's final light hangs golden over marigold crowns, the rain chain glows faintly. Not from light within, but from the story it tells, that beauty is not born, it's made. And it can be made from anything, even what we throw away. So let it rain. Let it sing. Let the garden gather its tears not in silence, but in celebration, one flower, one bottle, one droplet at a time. Along the winding border of a garden too small for grand monuments, rise the guardians of color, totems made not of stone or wood alone, but of memory and reinvention. Crafted from trash, painted with intention, these vertical mosaics stand like cheerful sentinels between the wildflowers. Each totem is a story. A bottle once tossed aside now sits proudly beneath a tin can hat. A twisted tree root balances a painted pipe, while metal scraps gleam with new color, teal, mustard, plum, stacked like playful puzzle pieces. Their forms are strange, joyful, and deeply human. They line the edges of the path like festival banners frozen in time. Between them, chrysanthemums stretch wide in golden bursts. Sedum blooms hug their bases, grounding the chaos in calm. Japanese anemones flicker nearby, fluttering like silent approval. Even the bees seem curious, hovering at painted petals, unsure what is real and what is art. These garden border totems are not tall or towering. They rise just enough to catch the eye and spark a smile. Just enough to make a statement in a tiny yard, that art lives here, in pieces once forgotten, now gathered with love. There is no pattern to their making, only freedom. Some stand straight, others lean like dancers mid-motion. Some are themed in color, others wear a riot of hues. They are as varied as the hands that shape them, as expressive as the earth they rest on. In the glow of morning light, they cast shadows like stitched lace across the soil. In the hush of evening, they seem to hum with quiet pride. They are not just decoration. They are declaration. A testament to transformation, to sustainability, to joy without expense. Guests ask, "Where did you buy these?" And the answer is always the same, from the trash, with a bit of time and a lot of love. And so the totems remain, silent, colorful, imperfect pillars of beauty born not from wealth or design catalogs, but from imagination. Here in this little garden, they stand tall, and the world around them blooms. They peek between fence posts with painted eyes, smile from twisted roots, and perch proudly on bottle wings. In this whimsical garden, junk has taken on charm, becoming critters too cute to ignore. Here, along the fence line, animals made from trash turn a simple border into a parade of personality. A bluebird crafted from a soda bottle catches morning sun on its translucent wings. A ladybug, once a rusted can, now wears a glossy red coat with hand-dotted spots. Near the base, a hedgehog peeks from ivy, its back made of bottle caps, its nose an old knob. Every piece was once nothing, but now, everything smiles. The fence becomes a storybook. Rabbits with root-formed ears huddle beside marigolds. Frogs made of cut drum lids sit on stakes like garden guardians. A wise owl, pieced from twisted wire and scrap metal, blinks above the asters. Each critter brings a burst of color, a whisper of imagination, and a grin to those who pass by. Children laugh and point, naming them all. There's Mr. Snail. Look, a squirrel made of screws. Even adults pause, pulled into the magic. What was trash has become delight. And it's not just fun, it's meaningful. Each creature stands as a quiet act of rebellion against waste, against sameness, against the idea that art must be perfect or purchased. These animals were their history, dents, rust, and odd angles, but do so with pride, like fairy tale characters who've wandered into a backyard. The flowers join the show, blooming like an audience in full applause. Chrysanthemums in bold gold. Anemones nodding in soft pink. Sedum tumbling between fence boards. All around, life, planted and sculpted, flourishes. This is a place for play, for wonder, for pause. A garden where even junk gets a second chance to make someone smile. A fence that doesn't just hold boundaries, but holds joy. In this space, every critter tells a story. Every bottle flaps a painted wing. And every passerby walks away with just a little more light in their day. In the heart of a small garden lies a stream that does not flow. It glistens without water, curves without current, and sings without sound. Made not of stone, but of transformation, this is the bottle stream, a quiet tribute to serenity shaped from the overlooked. Here, plastic water bottles, cut, crushed, painted in soft tones of slate, jade, and pearl, form a winding ribbon through moss and gravel. From a distance, it mimics a dry riverbed, an ancient flow stilled by time. Up close, it tells a different story, one of rebirth and intention. The stream is bordered with slender bamboo poles, aged to golden warmth. Between them, tufts of sedum, marigolds, and Japanese anemones rise gently, their blooms soft against the structure. The garden feels still, but alive, a pocket of calm in the bustle of the world. Tiny bridges made of driftwood cross the bottle stream. Stone lanterns and smooth pebbles punctuate the space. And above all, the whisper of nature, birds, bees, breeze, completes the moment. This garden corner doesn't boast, it breathes. It was not made in haste, nor with great expense. Only with time, care, and the eyes to see what could be. Bottles once empty now shimmer with meaning. Trash once cast aside now reflects the sky. Visitors often miss it at first. But when they pause, when their gaze softens, they see the gentle arc of the bottle stream. They follow its path, not with their feet, but with their thoughts, drawn into a rhythm older than speech. It's not loud. It's not perfect. But it is peace. And in this tiny space, framed by bamboo and blooms, even something as fleeting as a water bottle finds permanence. Beauty. Purpose. Let the world rush beyond the garden walls. Here, the stream waits, not to carry water, but to carry wonder.